Costa Rica?
Oh, yeah, duh. Of course I'm going to tell you that. What do you want to know?
What'd you do? How'd you... you hung out, right? You just stayed at the hotel and watched TV, Netflix?
Yeah, I mean, I just went there to basically...
Veg out.
Veg. Like, just to be in a different country. It was just... I just wanted the flex of saying I went somewhere new.
You wanted to be the in-season vegetable.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to be... the hip new thing that, well, Costa Rica was my in-season vegetable, I guess. Like, it was like the new thing to try. So, and I did it. And wow, it was a journey. I mean, it feels like it was so long ago, but it was really only like 3 weeks ago. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It honestly feels like it was so long ago.
It's all slipping away so suddenly.
It's all slipping away.
Yeah. I had the same feeling with Paris. I was like, oh, remember years ago when we went to Paris? I'm like, that was this year.
Yeah, I know. That's true. Like, even when you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, remember that last year you went to Paris? It does feel, it's weird. Because I think part of that too is like, when you've been thinking about it so long and planning for it so long and anticipating it, it's the same with all those kind of fun things. Yeah. It's like almost leading up. It's same with Christmas or anything like that. It's like the lead up is really where it's at. And then the trip just goes by so fast. And then, and then it's gone. But it's like bittersweet though. But
right.
So didn't you go somewhere during that time, like recently?
Me?
Did you go to Texas or somewhere?
I went to Austin, but I think we talked about that already.
Yeah, I think we did talk about that. But you did go somewhere else.
Did I?
I think so. All the other places would be boring. So it must have been Miami.
I think the last place I went was West Palm.
West Palm?
Yeah, so near Miami, I guess.
What'd you do in West Palm?
West Palm Beach?
Yeah.
For our family get-together?
That was the last time you traveled?
Pretty sure.
Oh. Okay.
Unless
maybe I was wrong.
Was a part of something I don't remember.
Okay, well, I guess maybe I was thinking of Texas then. Because I was like, I know we both went on a trip somewhere. But...
yeah, that was before.
Okay.
I think we talked about that.
Let's cut all that out then. That was stupid.
So, did you experience an opening in the Earth's crust that allows lava, ash, and gases to erupt onto the surface?
Wouldn't that have been so shocking and awesome, but in a very terrifying way? No, I didn't. However, I did go to a volcano and...
oh, nice.
I know. And I got to walk the lava path from a previous eruption.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And, so we walked that up the mountain, up the volcano. And along the way, along the sides, was like the lava rocks and all of that. And there were a few places where there was steam coming up, but I don't know.
You were steaming?
Well, like the crevices where the steam comes out. What's it called?
Vents.
Yeah, the vents. Yeah, there was like smoke coming out. But I will say, this is just a hot take. But I think...
oh, hot take on the volcano.
I think those were a little fake.
You think that they were pretending to have an active volcano?
I think they were a little staged.
Uh-oh. Interesting. You think they went on down to the Halloween store and got a couple fog machines?
Yeah, I do. I think that there was like one of the ones that I saw that we passed. It had like, if you look in there, you can see like a little wire.
Uh-oh.
I know. And I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, that is disappointing. That's so disappointing. But you could see how that happens, right? It's like you have a tourism industry, and then it's like, come see the steaming remnants of a volcano. And it's like, yeah, this vent, and then it stops producing steam.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we just lose our jobs, or do we go get a smoke machine and put it under some rocks?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It was fun. But I took it in. I took it in with the ambiance, and I said, you know what? I'm here. It's fine.
Yeah. That's a very interesting experience in and of itself.
Yeah.
You lost one experience, but you gained another.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciated the thought that went into it. And actually, it was a really interesting story because the volcano, basically what happened was it erupted. I can't remember what year it erupted. Let me see if I can find it. It was 1750. In 1750 it erupted. Is that right?
Ooh, that's not that long ago in volcano terms.
Oh, sorry. It erupted in 1968.
Oh, that is very recent.
Wait.
Although, when they say eruption, I'm always thinking of Mount St. Helens, but, it's probably not that intense.
Well, it destroyed the small town of Tabacan.
Wow.
So, there you go. But anyways.
It's pretty intense.
It said, due to the eruption, 3 more craters were created on the western flanks, but only one exists today. What? It says, Arnell's eruption from 1968 to 2010 is the 10th longest duration volcanic eruption on Earth since 1750.
Oh.
Okay. So basically the last eruption, which I don't think was as intense as the 1968 eruption, because it says the 1968 eruption destroyed a small town. But after that,
yeah, it's intense.
It was just, I think, these little eruptions, but it's been dormant since 2010. But the point that I'm trying to say is that basically what happened was, obviously all of the vegetation around it was destroyed, but there was this family that were little business entrepreneurs, and they decided, nobody wants to buy this land. Everybody was scared to build on this land. Nobody wanted it. So guess what? It was super, super cheap. And they decided, hey, let's buy it. And they did. And lo and behold, it's worth a pretty decent penny. They turned it into a park, like a natural park. So there's like hiking and, nature stuff. Obviously the hiking trail that we went on is maintained by them. And then at the point where you basically get to the end of your hike from the volcano, or the start, depends on which way you go up. But they have like a bar that has like a balcony up top, and you can stand up there and look over the entire land, and it's so pretty. Anyways, it was just so interesting, and they turned it into a paid park, so you have to pay to go in to see all this stuff. I was like, wow, that was...
Huh. Have you seen Twisters?
No, but I want to.
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
I was gonna reference part of the story, but if you haven't seen it.
Oh, does it have to do with the volcano?
No. There's some other part that was relevant.
Oh, is it gonna be a spoiler?
I guess.
Okay.
But have you seen a neotropical group of Xenotherian mammals constituting the suborder of Folovior? Including the extinct arboreal tree animals and extinct terrestrial ground animals?
I'm gonna go on a limb and say no.
You haven't seen this.
I gotta say, probably not.
It is
Why?
The mammalia Eurykatoya.
Okay.
Of the order
And what is that?
Pilosa of the phylum Chordata, aka the common tree sloth.
Are you broken? The common tree sloth, of course. Yeah, that's what they're called. What the heck?
They are I love that, the neotropical group of Xenotherian mammals constituting the suborder of Folivora. That's intense.
Oh my gosh, who came up with all that? Just call it a sloth. What's with the complicated? Is it because they're different species of sloths?
I mean, I think there's different species of animal is why.
Oh. But what language is this that we're speaking?
I think a lot of it stems from Latin, so no living language.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and I love how Wikipedia is or see the cardinal cardinal sin sloth.
How did because it's sloth.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was like
okay.
half of your reason for going, right?
Well,
Half.
no, I wouldn't say
Half.
That's quite high. But I would have been really disappointed if I hadn't seen it. And as I told your wife,
Mm-hmm.
if I saw one there, I would die and not come back. And
Well, you're back, so I guess you didn't. Is this a fake video?
yeah. Unfortunately, the powers that be spared me. And they showed me a sloth and kept me alive at the same time. So obviously it wasn't as damaging to my health as I thought it would be. But it was still pretty epic, I will say.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like when we went and we were there for a few days before we saw one. And the whole time we're thinking like, let's keep looking for sloths. We're going to find one. We even stopped at a couple places where they were supposed to be and they weren't there.
And you're like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we were starting to get really disheartened and like thought, oh my gosh, are we like here not at a good time? Because another thing was that, what's the name of that monkey? The howler monkey.
Ooh.
So apparently during the time that we were there, it was very common to see a howler monkey. And we never saw that like while we were there.
Damn.
And they said that was very rare, like for you to not see one. So we were thinking
Like, you guys are unlucky.
Oh, yeah. Like we were thinking, like, what is it with this? Like, did something happen? Is there something in the air? Are the animals just not coming out? Whatever. But so what was crazy was, so we went basically the night before. She was like, okay, we're going to check this one last spot that I think you'll probably see a sloth. And we were like, okay. So, and it wasn't there. And we were like, oh. So we went home. We went back to our place. Yeah, it was very sad. And we put it out of our minds. We went to sleep, woke up the next morning, had breakfast, and we were getting ready to get on our bus to go to our next excursion thing. And as we're getting on the bus, actually, I had to return my key because the cabins that we're staying at, I had to go down to the front office area and like return my key. And I returned my key and I walked out, and then I heard somebody down the road
howling,
screaming. Yeah, they're like, sloth, sloth. So then I see like a couple people from my group running towards it. And I was like, what are they doing? And I was confused. And so I went down there just to see what was going on. And I was
You
like,
thought they were talking about the deadly sun?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, stay away. You don't want to be a part of that. You'll be cursed forever. My curiosity won out. And I'm glad that it did because, yeah, then we got there and it was a Colopus hoffmanni.
What?
It was a how do you say that? Cololepus hoffmanni.
Oh, the two-toed sloth?
The two-toed sloth.
I see. I still have the Wikipedia page. You thought you could stump me? Ooh.
So, yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool. And that was, like, the cutest animal I'd ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh, please come down here and say hello. And you know what? He didn't. But he came pretty close. He started to walk towards us.
Ooh.
And yeah, we were really excited. And we thought, oh my gosh, he's coming. And then he ended up just going over so that he could go up. But I was actually pretty surprised at how fast he was moving. Because, you assume that they're just like so slow. And he is slow. But it was faster than I thought.
Huh. Have you seen how big giant sloths are? Or were?
I'm sorry. What do you mean? Were? Or they don't exist anymore?
Yeah. They were like... What era was that? Like woolly mammoth times. There was giant sloths.
Really? Like Ice Age times?
I think so. When did they live?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're like easily twice the height of a human.
Oh my gosh.
Like when they stand
They're
up.
huge.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That would be terrifying to get in contact with one of those. No joke. I mean, they're cute. Oh, but are they slow? Are they slow?
Hope so.
Because, are they kind? Are they like the gentle giant? Look at this picture.
They kind of look sort of like a giraffe. Like very big, but not really spooky.
That cannot be real. Oh my god.
They don't actually look like a giraffe, and I'm saying they seem like that would be the situation.
I don't know if you'll get this in Discord.
They're from the Pleistocene era.
That.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine getting hugged by that sloth?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'd be cute. Maybe it'd be so cozy. Because, they're so nice. Actually, that's not true. I was watching this documentary where somebody rescued a sloth and like tried to put it, I think it was like putting it up on a tree branch, but it held its hand to help it, and it basically crushed their hand.
Ooh.
Because of how strong their grip was, and they had to
He's like, all right, if you want to be a branch.
Yeah, essentially. I don't know. It was crazy. But no, like, I think they kind of look like terrifying. If they were that big. It's like if the cutest thing that you could ever imagine became 5 times bigger than you. Is it still cute? I don't know.
It's like if a gerbil were the size of a car. You'd be terrified of it.
Yeah, that would not be cute. That would be so scary. I think anything that big would be scary. But thankfully they were not that big. They were just like cuddly cute. They could fit in your arms, wrap around you, give you a big hug. Baby vibes.
So they're part of the Cenozoic era, which is they're technically in the Tetrary era, but technically they're in the Neogene period. But the epoch is Pliocene and most likely late.
I'm seeing prehistoric, Ice Age, Megatherium.
I love how many. If there is an archaeologist listening to this, they're like slapping their forehead.
You guys, yeah, they're like, guys, just stop.
Like, please stop. Or a biologist. They're like, oh my god, go take Latin, please.
Yeah, giant sloth lived during the Pleistocene period. I need to know how to pronounce that. I love using Google for pronunciation. Pleistocene, okay? Giant sloths lived during the Pleistocene period, also known as the Great Ice Age, which lasted from 1.8 million to 12,000 years ago. And there were different species and characteristics between them. There was 1, 2, 3.
It could be 20 feet tall.
No, 4. There was 4 different sloths species during that time. How tall?
20 feet.
Holy cow. How much would that'd be like an elephant. How much would that weigh?
Good question.
How much would a 20-foot sloth weigh? Would Google know that?
Just ask AI. It'll tell you something. It's 4 tons.
4 tons?
Yeah. It was about 4 tons. It was 6 meters, aka 20 feet. It was 4 tons. I think that is larger than a elephant. I think an elephant's like 1 ton.
Yeah, it must be. Adult elephant males weigh between 1,800 and 6,300 kilograms, which is about between 2 and 7 tons.
I think, so it's not far off for an elephant.
Yeah. I want to see that's an African elephant. I don't know. What's the biggest elephant?
I think they're the biggest.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so adult male African elephant is the biggest. Okay, so
they had 1/2 foot claws on each hand.
Oh, I wonder if they were aggressive. Does it say?
I don't think so, but I think they would only attack things that were attacking it, like predators.
Oh, here we go. Check this out. You guys, I hope I remember to put this on Instagram. How can I? Okay, oops. I'm not very good at okay, here we go. I'm not very good at remembering because of the way that our podcast episodes come out. I forget what we talked about.
And meander all over the place.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard to remember. But that's the size difference. I have a size comparison of an elephant, a man, and a giant sloth. It's a picture of it on Reddit.
That's sick.
So maybe if I don't remember, Google that.
Dude, I would love to see a fight between an elephant and a giant sloth. That's crazy.
I would not.
That'd be the showdown of a century. No. Oh, and a giraffe. That'd be crazy.
Giraffe.
I don't know how much giraffes can fight, but it'd be interesting to see them in the mix.
They've got very strong necks. They can whack their heads around. And they have horns on their head that hit really hard. And they got those kicky legs.
Kicky.
They can hold their own. However, I will say, like, one of the most unsettling things for me is when I see animals fight each other.
Yeah, I can see that.
I hate it. Even though I know it's a part of, like, it's just a part of nature. Like, they just fight, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just so sad. It's like, I feel bad that they have to live in a world where they have to fight.
Us too.
I don't know.
We all live in that world.
Well, yeah.
But
I don't think we have to fight, though. We don't live in a world where we have to fight.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think.
It's brutal.
But
it's like
it is
a lot
brutal.
of a lot of the fights in nature like aren't like the things you see on Reddit where two people get in a fist fight in the street and then one of them walks away with a bloody mouth.
Right? Speaking of sloths, I saw two different sloths. Two different species.
Two different toes of sloth.
Yeah, two different toes. I saw the 3-toed and the 2-toed.
Whoa.
And I was kind of surprised at how different they were. I was like, oh, another sloth. Wait, no. That's like a totally different animal. But it's not because it still moved the same. It just looks so different.
It was still sloth-like?
It's still sloth-like, but like way more chill. It had way more personality, to be honest. Like 3-toed.
3-toed looks like a scamp. He looks like he's up to something.
Yeah, like it had like a little kind of like, yeah, I see you down there. I see you seeing me. And, you know, I'm cool with it. But like, I know you can't touch me because I'm way up here. And I'm above you. And I rule this jungle kind of thing. It was like he sat there and he hung for a little bit with his like back legs wrapped around the branch and one of his front legs wrapped. And then he took the other one and was like scratching his belly, looking down at us like, yeah, I got no fear.
Wow.
I've got nothing to worry about. I'm just living my life. It was cool. Yeah. But the other one was way cuter. He had a little red nose and like, I don't know, looked cuddly. This one looked like he like, I don't know, like you could be friends with it, but it would be too cool for you. Like you would always be looking up to this sloth as like the cool kid and you would never really truly fit in. But they would like hang with you, but it would be like you would always know you really couldn't fit inside their sphere.
Yeah.
Like their world. Yeah. It's kind of like that.
Sure.
Anyway, so I also saw a lot of toucans. Like, different types of toucans, which is funny because, like, you always assume the toucan's going to look like Toucan Sam.
Uh-huh. Or be serving you Guinness.
Or that. Yeah, exactly. And no, they're not. They're not. They're actually, like, smaller than I thought and way prettier and just way more diverse and cool. I don't know. There were so many different colored birds. Like the nature there was just obviously incredible. I mean, and everybody knows. I mean, I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Costa Rica has to offer, but.
Well, I mean, that's so cool. I've never been to a rainforest or anything. I imagine that's just a whole different experience, a whole different biome. I know we like our tropical, but not really like that.
Oh yeah, it was totally unique, and actually was a lot more unique than I thought it was going to be. I had an idea of what it would be like, but it truly exceeded my expectations. I will say that. And like my friend was asking me what I thought the coolest part of the entire experience was in terms of like where I went, like the best place I went. And I have to say, there's the cloud forest in Monte Vedra was the coolest thing. It was a suspension bridge. It was like multiple suspension bridges throughout this cloud forest. And you're basically walking through clouds and this like magical, like fairy tale forest. It had this whole different kind of like vibe to it where it was like, it felt like you were in on a movie set or something like that, like something from a movie.
Like Lord of the Rings?
And I would say more like Jurassic Park or something like that, where it was just very spooky, but also ethereal. It had a very delicate aspect to it, where it was like magical. I don't know how to explain it. It was very peaceful too. It had very zen feeling to it. So one thing was like, we went on lots of hikes there. We went on multiple excursions where we went through like different forests and different hikes, waterfalls, etc. The volcano. And through all of those, we were a group of girls. Okay, there was like lots of girls, so we're chatty. I mean, I'm not a super chatty person, to be honest. Like if you know me in real life, I'm not a big chatter, but when you get around other girls, you just get talking.
Yeah, it's a multiplication effect.
Everybody was talking. It's basically, the math was mathing with the girl math, okay?
Girl math?
Girl math was on a high level. It was like calculus for girls. And we were all kind of like, just like getting to know each other, talking, getting into the little conversations here and there. But on this hike, it was almost like known throughout. Like nobody said, let's not talk. Let's just be quiet. Let's whatever.
Yeah.
But like everybody was so quiet. Like nobody talked.
Stunned.
We just absorbed the entire experience. We listened to like the quiet of the forest, the little noises that it made, the little animals. I don't know. It was just like it was an experience. It wasn't just like, wow, I'm in a forest hiking in this beautiful place and like, look at those trees. Oh, also, you know how in Jurassic Park, how everything is like huge? Like the trees,
yeah.
They had like star trees. They had these huge ferns. Like the ferns were enormous. They were huge. It was like being miniature in this giant world around you. It was so weird.
That's cool.
And then you're walking on these suspension bridges, so you're up above everything and you're looking down and there's just like fog everywhere and it's just, and the light is coming through the trees. I don't have any way to describe the feeling of it because I don't know. It was just like calm and I don't know how to explain it really, but that was the coolest part of the whole trip, I think, for me.
Are you sure they didn't just go to the party store and get giant ferns and place them around?
Could you imagine? Like everything in there is fake. It's just like a movie set. You know, it's the same movie set that I think they did film parts of Jurassic Park in Costa Rica.
I mean, it is,
honestly.
The setting of Jurassic Park is like right off the coast of Costa Rica.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. There was another thing is we saw this little chicken. There's like this little rainforest chicken. I don't know what it was really called.
Rainforest chicken. Well, that's what it's called now.
That's what we called it because we don't know. And we were walking so quiet and so still and like slowly, and we were passing this chicken and we thought, that's really weird. It's not moving out of the path. It's just standing there. And it let us get so close to it.
Ooh.
We were like, oh my gosh, it's going to let us really basically walk right up to it. And just as we got up to it, it starts eating something on the ground.
Okay.
It's stress eating. It's like very concerned that we were getting so close.
He was like, I'm just eating. I don't know. What
Yeah,
are
like,
you doing?
What? No, I'm just... But that was like the only big animal that we saw while we were there. Like in that forest. But it was okay. Because the forest itself was its own entity. It was so incredible. The other things that we did that were really cool was we ziplined on like the biggest, longest zip line above the rainforest. I mean, there were I think there were like 10 zip lines within the whole thing that we did. And we did it like Superman style.
So if you accidentally went into a tree, it'd be head first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there was a couple times where I thought we weren't going to stop, or I wasn't going to stop, because we were going so fast. And for that particular one, you can't slow down because you're just assuming that it's going to stop you.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that was really cool because you're going so fast, and it's over. I think it was like a mile long.
What?
So you're going for quite a while. Yeah, you're like, and you're really high, like the highest I've ever been on a zip line before. And you're over the rainforest and you're just looking down, and then onto the left there's mountains, and to the right there's like these crazy trees, and under you there's just like this like canopy, and it was like so cool.
It's unbroken
and
for a mile?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. It was so long. And that was like pretty cool. That was like that was definitely the coolest zip line I've ever been on. And it was scary too in a way because it's like you're like, say you're in the middle of this 1 mile zip line and like below you you would die if you fell. Like you would absolutely, I mean, it'd be a pretty long fall because it's really high. But at the same time, you're thinking, well, I see houses down there.
You're crash into someone's living room?
No, but I feel like nobody would build a house or like live in a house under a zip line if people fell, you know? If there was the chance of somebody falling and killing you and your whole family, I don't know. I feel like that would be rare. So I thought, listen, I feel safe now. Now that I saw that
you think there's just this operation where they're like every week 3 people fall to their death, but they're like, whatever.
Yeah, fine. Like I would think that
they signed a waiver.
They would move, you know? They'd be like, this happens too frequently. There's going to be a chance that they come right through our roof. Because these weren't like normal houses. It wasn't like a really strong structured house. You know, it was like rainforest house. So,
sure.
I don't know how to explain that, but anyway. It just comforted me a little bit.
Yeah, why not?
But, and then I tried the scariest thing I'd ever done, which was I did the Tarzan swing, which was...
Did you do the yell?
I screamed. I didn't do that.
You should have.
No, I didn't.
Been good.
Yeah, and I didn't check. I can't remember like how high all this stuff was. And actually, I think I did try to find out how high the zipline was, and there was like nothing that said. All it said was the length. So I don't know how high it was, but it was really, 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 really high. The highest I've ever been in my life, other than in a plane. But the Tarzan swing, again, like, it was, like, above the canopy. And basically you jump. You don't even have a chance to jump, to be honest. They were moving you so fast that you didn't have a chance to think. You walked, and you walked this plank, okay? Because you're walking out into...
Did they have you at sword point? Were they like, walk the plank?
Basically, they're like, all right, you go. And like you go and you walk this skinny little railing bridge that takes you out. It's like a dock, but like above the canopy, and you're walking out to the end of the dock. You get down to the end. And as you're walking, it's shaking because it's like, you know, the wind is like blowing it, and people that are on it or whatever, and you're by yourself. Okay, you're like going down this thing by yourself, and as you're walking, you're hearing screams because the people in front of you are jumping to their death,
assumably onto the houses.
Assumably, you don't know. You're assuming they're okay, but you don't know. And then it's your turn. You get up there, and they're like, "Okay, you go," and they strap you in to this like. It's not even a swing. It's like when you're rock climbing, and you have like a little
harness?
Clip. Huh?
Like a harness?
Like you have a harness on, but yeah, it's like that, like when you're ziplining or
yeah, you know, when you're ziplining.
Yeah. No, like when you're rock climbing, like you have your little, what's that called?
Chastity
climbing.
belt. Rack and pinion.
Yeah, I don't know. It's basically like they clip you in with this rope, and then they're like, okay, like you don't have a second to think. All they do is they ask you if you have back problems. And I said,
well, you know, actually, and then they push you.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean by back problems? They're like, do you have back problems? And I was like, well, like, not bad. And they're like, you understand, we tell you not to do this if you have back problems. I was like, yes. And they're like, okay, go. And then basically like push you off. And you're like,
hey, don't do this if you have back problems. And you're like, oh, I do have back problems. And they push you.
I was starting to second guess. I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this if I have back problems, because I do have back problems, but I was like, really, how bad could it be to your back? Because it's a swing.
How bad could it be?
And it's, I don't know. I guess it's like in case it like jerks you too much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you're like, you broke my back. I have a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
And they added Thurula.
It was terrifying. It was like...
Would you do it? Would you jump?
I did jump.
What? Are you crazy?
I know. It was terrifying. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it swings you all the way up. So you're basically swinging back up over the canopy of the rainforest. And then you swing back down to get back down. And yeah, it was terrifying. You drop. Like when you first jump, you drop until it swings you. And that was basically like Tower of Terror. I kept saying, it's going to be just like Tower of Terror. It's going to be just like Tower of Terror. Because I love Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fine.
I love falling sensations.
Yeah. And it was like that, but it just kept going.
You know that part on Orange Avenue where if you're going fast enough, you like kind of drop? You get a little air or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. That's kind of like that. Yeah.
I speed up for that part.
Yeah, except like it doesn't stop for a while. and then you go up and then you come back down again. I don't know.
I assume eventually you normalize. Like
Yeah.
I've never been skydiving, but
Well, the closest thing it was to me was like bungee jumping. But like I've never been bungee jumping and I will never go bungee jumping.
well, it sounds like you've basically been bungee jumping.
Well, yeah. It's basically like bungee jumping, but instead of going head first, you go feet first. And I felt like that felt safer to me.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I can handle that. But you will never catch me bungee jumping.
Do you have to go head first in bungee jumping?
I think so. I think you do.
Hmm.
Isn't that part of the rules? Doesn't that mean it?
I saw somebody not be totally clipped in for a bungee jump, and they just they didn't. I don't think they died, but because they were like it was like partially clipped on, so it started to break their fall, but once they hit the end of the bungee cord, it gave, and they just went into the ground.
Really?
Yeah, but it like mostly broke their fall, so I think they just like broke a couple bones.
Oh my God. That's terrifying. That is what I'm scared of. I will never, ever, ever go bungee jump.
If that happened to me, if I smacked in the ground, I'd be like, well, I'm dead. And then I wake up in the hospital like, what happened?
Well, exactly. So that's the thing is like you hope that like if there's a fail or if something goes wrong, you just die.
Yeah, you're not just like a crushed mess at the bottom.
Yeah, you're going to die and you're not going to feel anything and it's just going to be instant. But that's not the reality.
He died 6 days later in intensive care.
That, or you get like some major injury where you're paralyzed for life or like your whole life is altered. You know, I mean, I'm sure you could still have a fulfilling life, but like what if you're brain dead or like what if you're non-functional or things like that?
Yeah.
That's what would scare me. So, but I guess, that's possible with really anything, like even driving a car. But I don't know, just the thought of like that extra risk of bungee jumping. I don't know. Would you ever skydive? Would you ever jump out of a plane?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, because I don't know. Like the only thing for me would be like, again, if something goes wrong, there is no safety net. There's no second ring. It's like if you're...
Sure, the net's on your back.
No, but like what if that fails? There's nothing to catch you.
Well, then there's a backup one.
Well, okay. The only way I would ever do it, obviously, the only way you can do it to begin is to go with somebody who's experienced.
Yeah. Definitely want to do that.
So that makes me feel a little bit safer. That makes me feel like, okay, I think I could do that. But at the same time, I don't know. Would it be a cool experience? It's one of those things where, like, if you look, it almost looks fake. Like, if you look down from that height and you're jumping and you're flying through the air, is it just like a movie going past you? Does it look real? Are you really appreciating the scenery? Or are you thinking, this is just like a movie. I'm watching a movie. It's not real. This isn't real life.
Yeah.
Is that what it would feel like?
Yeah, it gets very surreal. I feel like.
Yeah.
Whenever you experience something crazy like that.
I think everybody's always said that it's worth skydiving, but because I think everybody I know that's done it has been like, yeah, it was like a really good experience. But I wonder if that's true. So I still question it. Kind of like, the people who just landed from, what's it called? Amazon's space program where they can send you up to like that part of space and then bring you right back down in 10 minutes.
Sure. Blue Origin.
Yeah, that. First of all, did you see did you see the landing of that?
Well, I saw that SpaceX booster that didn't land. But no, I didn't see the Blue Origin one.
Oh, okay. So Blue Origin went through its thing. It went up. It took some people, like the first astronauts, to try it. And then it came down and it landed within, I think it was like 10 minutes and like 10 and a half minutes or something like that. It was like the total trip.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, they're going to have like a good landing or whatever. And I'm thinking when it landed, it looked so hard. Like they landed so hard. Like it would not be comfortable.
Ugh, spooky.
They're like, oh, but there was boosters and it's not as hard as it looked. But I don't know.
Meanwhile, they're all in the hospital.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like they didn't show the people afterwards. So I don't know. But anyway, my point of bringing that up was like, would skydiving be similar to that, where it's like you go up, you're like flying up to space, you get to see a glimpse of space, and then you fly back down, and when you're up there and you get to see that glimpse of space, would it be everything you thought it would be? Would it be like you're actually seeing space, or would it be totally like you're looking out of a window at just like a TV screen? You know?
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, would the experience be worth it, I guess? I wonder.
Yeah, especially in that instance where you're like looking through a viewport with like, you know, it's much more surreal to be able to like see something with your naked eyes. But yeah, I mean, I assume it would look just like any picture you've seen of space where it's like, look, it's black and there's stars.
Exactly.
And then like you'd still kind of see the horizon of Earth below you. So it'd be like, I don't know, am I just like really high up? Because I don't know if you've ever been in a plane while it's becoming night, but while you're looking out, it's like, it's almost like you're going into space or something, because it's like on one side it's day, but then there's this advancing blackness of stars and everything. And then you're just kind of like, whoa, it looks like I'm leaving the Earth or something.
Yeah.
But would that just be the feeling? Was just be like, yeah, it looks like I'm kind of, you know, in the night.
Yeah, exactly. And the cost of going on Blue Origins, I don't know what that cost is, but for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard it's over $100.
Yeah, I would hope so. But you would have to be facing the window that faced the best view of space. Like, what would you really be able to see? Would it just be black with stars? Would it just be everything I think it is? Or would you be able to see the different atmospheric changes? Would you be able to see like another planet, or like, you know, Venus or the moon, or I don't know, what would you see? I wonder. And like, what if you're on the wrong side? Like, what if you're on the worst side?
Oh yeah, that would suck.
Once it gets up there where all you see is Earth. Like well, I mean, that would be cool too. Like to see Earth from that height.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a wrong side because you're up in space. But if it got like iced over or something, and then you're like, well.
Yeah, true. Also, I was watching that video of the guy jumping out of the plane with no parachute.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just thinking, there are some people in this world who have no fear. Have you seen that guy? Oh, I'm going to try and find it.
Who picks up a sloth?
We're talking so long. No, oh gosh, I would do that. That's not scary. Oh, what's his name? Anyway, it was like a guy who, it reminded me of the Sinks, where you jump off of the rock and into the water.
Yeah, right.
But instead, he is jumping off of an extremely high rock over a, railing. And then below the railing is a drop, obviously. And then there's another level of rock where people are standing. And then beyond that is the water. And there's a waterfall too. Anyway, he jumps over the railing, dives down towards the people on the rock, somehow misses that rock, and dives down 1,000 meters or whatever, 1,000 feet. I don't know how far it is, but it's super far into the water.
Oh, man.
And I'm looking at this person thinking, like, how do people have no fear? How do people... I mean, obviously, there's probably some fear in them. Like, there has to be. They just overcome it. They just do it anyway. And maybe they spent their entire life just increasing their levels of, like...
Let's see how far it can go.
Yeah, like testing the boundaries or whatever. But how do people have, I don't know, like that level of death-defying, I don't care.
I feel like people get a vision of things going well. And these are like people that are really good at visualizing that and being like, that's how it'll go.
Oh.
And just really convincing themselves. Because like with a jump like that, it's very much like, I can make it.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes you're wrong, but I guess that guy wasn't.
You bring up a good point. I do think that confidence has a huge part in people succeeding with stuff, especially with, I think, like, because I was thinking that when I was learning how to longboard with like my skateboard, I was thinking like, how do the kids, like especially kids, pick up this kind of stuff so fast, And I'm thinking, well, because they have no fear, because they believe that they can do it, because they don't really have the experience of failure. So for them, it's just, I'm just going to do it, And I think that's why a lot of people succeed in stuff. It's just because they believe that they can.
Yeah. I mean, big part of it.
Honestly.
It's just whether you live is how well the other part of you goes like, yeah, but this one's too high stakes. Like if you're wrong about this, that's it,
Yeah, true.
Like that guy jumping off the rock. Because I saw another guy that did not who visualized success, but it did not materialize for him. And he just like landed. He like the water broke his fall a little bit, but he mostly landed on a rock. Is very much like that scenario, jumping off of like kind of a sinks rock, like big rock into a river kind of thing. Yeah. Like the water broke his fall a little bit, but the next shot was like paramedics like pulling him out of the forest. It was just like, oh, dude.
Anyways, Costa Rica was great.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, one of the big reasons that I went was obviously to push myself out of my own comfort zone and socialize a bit more, because I do not have a history of socialization. I wouldn't consider myself necessarily antisocial. I just do not put myself in social situations. I don't gravitate towards social interactions. I don't know. I'm just very much introverted, and I'm comfortable being in my own world. And like, I don't know. I honestly don't even really think about socializing. However, there are periods of my life where I have felt like this lack of connection that I feel like I missed out on certain things. And one of those things was like having a good core group of friends, especially female friends, because I grew up with boys,
Gross.
I know, right?
They stink.
Gross. There is nothing wrong with growing up with boys. I feel like I gained a lot from that, but all of my friends were boys. I had brothers, my whole life.
What?
Pretty. Yeah, like I didn't spend a lot of time with girls or the sisters, because they became part of our lives after the parents, or basically after I was grown and like in college. So didn't like grow up with them. Didn't live close enough to really bond enough to have like them as like a core group in my core group development or whatever. And anyways, so point being that the opportunity wasn't really there for having close girlfriends. I do have a best friend who's a girl, and so we have a good close relationship, but it's not like a group thing. And also part of that too is like I've never traveled other than like in youth group and stuff growing up in like a mixed group of people.
Yeah, when you're forced to hang out. Yeah,
you're kind of like forced to hang out, but also there's lots of different ages. There's both boys and girls, whatever. It was different. It wasn't like the same. And I did go to camp where I stayed in like girls' quarters and stuff, but I didn't really bond much with the other girls that were there, but I had my cousins there, and so I knew them, and so like I hung out with them pretty much. So I didn't really expand my horizons there either. And anyways, so my goal of the trip really was like to develop the experience of having a girl group bonding experience, really.
Yeah.
Because I'd never done that before. Even in camp. Like camp was weird because it was like you were out doing stuff all the time and you were in these structured environments and you basically just went back to your cabin to sleep. It wasn't like you hung out there and girl chatted. And
You didn't make s'mores?
you didn't make s'mores. You didn't talk, chat and stuff. Like, really. It was like you went, you slept, you woke up, you got ready, you went to your activity. It was like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this was like just a different experience that I was really, I think, curious about. And I was nervous about because I thought I would be so different compared to them. And it was the complete opposite of that. It was so cool to have that experience. And it far exceeded my expectations.
Wait, Lisa.
What?
Are you a girl?
Oh my God, I am. I finally know. I finally am.
This is beautiful.
And it was nice. It was beautiful. It was nice to like truly connect in a way that I personally had never really fully had, I guess. At least for a week. It was only a week.
Yeah.
But it was like we all just sort of fell into friendship immediately. And within a couple of days, all hesitancies and shyness kind of like went out the window, and we were all just like friends. And the type of girls that would go on a trip like this would have that kind of openness and connection and friendship mentality, I think. So that lent itself to a better experience, I think, which I didn't even consider before I went. But after going, I realized it's a really good experience because the type of people that would do that type of experience are looking for the same kind of bonding and connection. And so they're willing to welcome you in and learn something about you. And the whole point is getting to know each other and let's like really connect.
Yeah.
And so that's why I would highly encourage anybody who wants to do something like that to do it and not be scared of what's it going to be like. How are the girls going to be? How are the guys? Or even like mixed groups. I think the type of people that would go on the trip are the type of people that would fully welcome you in and want to have this great experience with you. So at least I've only done it once, so I don't want to like say like that it'll always be that way.
Yeah, but it was a great first step.
Yeah, it was a very good first experience, and I did get exactly what I wanted from it. And even more than what I wanted from it. It was like way more than what I thought. And I personally grew because knowing myself, I am a slow to warm up person. It just takes me so long to really feel comfortable enough with a person to really let myself be open and be myself.
Sure.
Like it really does take a long time. And so a week is a really short time.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like I came out more than I ever have before in such a short amount of time. And
you were open to the experience, it seems like.
Yeah, I tried to be. I tried to be as much as I could. So I was proud of myself for that. And so that's the second thing that I got the most out of was that. And the cloud forest. Those are like the two highlights. Oh, and that I tried something super, super scary. And yeah, but so that was my Costa Rica trip in a nutshell.
That's awesome.
Highly recommend everybody going.
Even if you're not meeting a whole new group of friends. You might not get that experience. That's dependent on your life and choices. But
totally. Go by yourself. That could be fun. I don't know. It seems to be a very safe country, too. I wouldn't say San Jose was. It's funny. Have you ever seen Idiot Abroad?
Yeah.
So there's this one episode where he goes to... what country was he going to? I can't remember, but he gets picked up from the airport in this taxi. And the taxi driver, the whole ride to wherever he's dropping him off, is telling him, what are you doing in this country? This country sucks. Like, you got to get out of here. This is terrible. Like, don't go see that. You don't want to see that. Oh, look at that. That's terrible. Basically, he's tearing down everything. And Carl's like, wow, if you're the first person that people see when they come to your country, no wonder your tourism is terrible.
Dang.
That was kind of how I felt when I got picked up from the San Jose airport in Costa Rica because the guy who drove us was doing the same thing. He's like, how long are you girls here for? Are you going to be here in San Jose long? Oh, good. You're not going to be here long. San Jose is no good. High crime. It's not attractive. There's nothing to look at. And I was a little cracking up because I was just like thinking about.
You're like, it's happening.
It was so funny.
I'm having the Idiot Abroad experience. Am I the Idiot Abroad?
I did feel that way. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but yeah, so the last thing I'll say is I went off script, which was another thing that was unexpected because before you go, you get an itinerary of everything you're going to be doing. And you sign up for things. Some of the things are optional and you can sign up for them. And the last day before we left was another hike. And you could sign up for that if you wanted to. It was optional. I signed up for it. But as the day was approaching, some of the girls who did not sign up for it decided to just like on a whim go canyoning.
Ooh, I want to go.
I was like, what is that? I was kind of thinking I might want to do something unique and different that I've never done before, like something new.
Sure.
So there was 4 of us. It was me and 3 other girls. And I went on this canyoning trip. And it was the craziest trip. And basically it's what it is you rappel down waterfalls.
That's pretty sick.
It was pretty intense. And it was pretty crazy. Like it was definitely an experience. But the sad thing about it was that you couldn't bring any cameras or any filming or anything like that because you needed both of your hands. So but they said we'll take video ourselves and we'll take photos, and because you signed up online,
that's the gambit.
We're going to send you free photos and videos of your excursion. So we're like, oh, awesome. Well, anyways, afterwards they're like, okay, we're all going to send it to this one email, and they'll get it, they'll send it out. So the girl who booked first, that was the one we sent it to, and first it took like 2 weeks for them to send it, and then they sent it, but it was the wrong people.
You're like, hey, cool. And they're like, we said we'd send you some photos.
Yeah. So and also they made us review our trip before we could get our photos. So anyway, but that was beside the point. It was good. We reviewed it good because it was good. But anyway, so then they're like, oh, sorry about that. We'll send you your photos. But they only sent like 2 videos and a handful of photos. And they were all of the other girls, but they didn't have mine.
Wow. What the heck?
Even though we were in the same group. And I was like, what? And she's like, I'm going to email them back and see if they can find it. That was over a week ago, and I haven't heard anything. So
doesn't seem like they're quick.
I'm guessing I'm probably ever going to see my photos and videos. And the saddest part of that is that I took a picture with the mascot, the dog, Konos.
The mascot.
He was the best dog I've ever met, honestly. And I've met a lot of dogs. I dog board. I meet a lot of dogs. I'm very familiar with dogs. This dog was the coolest dog. He was like the
I'm just
sweetest.
trying to wonder. I'm wondering how a dog could leave such an impression on you in such a short amount of time.
I know. He was so... First of all, fear had a lot to do with it. Okay? You're rappelling down waterfalls. Okay? You're getting waterboarded. It's literally torture. Your arms are about to be ripped off. You're being pushed down this fall. You're trying to hold on for dear life. You are controlling the rate at which you go down. You're controlling whether or not you fly down the waterfall to your death. I mean, it's scary. It's like you can't breathe half the time. You're trying to find where you put your feet. You're falling. It's quite the experience. But anyways, then you look...
Sounds awesome.
Well, yeah, it was kind of cool. But then you look down over your shoulder. You try not to, but you look down, and guess who's waiting for you at the bottom of the waterfall? Every single waterfall. Well, not every single one, but like most of them is Konos.
Konos?
He's sitting there waiting for you to come down. You're like immediately calmed. You're like, oh, Konos, he's there for me. I can do this. It was so calming.
If he can do it, I can do it.
He did. He like hiked down. So basically it was so cute. He'd come down to the bottom of the waterfall, and then when everybody got down to the bottom, he would, on his own, by himself, go down to the bottom of the next waterfall. He'd like hike down the trail or whatever, down to the next waterfall and wait for us. It was so cute. And then at the very end, after we were all finished, the guys who, and this is another thing, the guys who took us down these waterfalls.
Sure.
They were young, goofy. They were like cracking jokes. They were making fun of us. They were lying to us. They're like, oh yeah, it's easy. Oh yeah, put your foot here. Ha ha ha, you fell in. That's so funny. Like, they were just like pranking us left and right. They were having the best time. Okay. They were having the best time making us miserable.
That's great.
Yeah, it was interesting. But anyway, so like at the end when we were all finished, oh, by the way, the very last waterfall, they made the rope short on purpose. And here's the thing. When you're going down the rope, you're not thinking about, looking down at the rope. You're just thinking about, where am I putting my feet? How am I going to keep myself from being drowned from the water that's splashing into my face? How am I going to survive this? I just want to get down. You're not thinking about the rope. You're not looking at the rope. So anyways, the rope ends before you get down to the bottom, and you basically free fall down into the water. It was, and then of course that was the one that they were videotaping, and you can hear it. Like, so one of the other girls, she sent us her video, and you could just hear the guy cracking up in the back of the video, cracking up at her that she fell into the water. This is what I'm saying. They were just like punks, but anyways, they were nice.
Bunch of punks.
A bunch of punks, yeah. Super, super nice.
Maybe that's why they didn't send the video. Incriminating evidence.
True. I went first on that one. So I fell into the water first, soaking wet. It's freezing, by the way. The water's freezing.
What?
It's
You're
like
in the tropics.
It's like 60 degrees there, though. It was like 60 degrees outside of the water. And the water was like very cold. Okay. It was coming down from the top of a mountain somewhere.
Yeah.
Cold. I was very cold. So I was sitting there on the edge on a rock waiting for the other girls. Yeah. To my death. And Konos comes over and he sits next to me and like leans into me so that he keeps me warm. He just did that on his own. I didn't ask him to come over. He just came over and warmed me up. It was so cute. He knew I was cold. Anyway.
He's like, it's cuddle time.
Right. And then after we were all done, he took us all, because the guys had to stay back to gather like the equipment and everything and get everything together before we hiked back up. And this was a super long hike which I did not anticipate. I forgot that we just like hiked down.
It's to warm you up.
A huge mountain via waterfalls.
Right.
And now we have to hike all the way back up.
You like zipline down.
Yeah. And the hike was weird. There was all these other trails that you could take. But anyway, so like Konos was our guide dog, and he took us up the mountain. He's like, come on, girls, I'll take you. And we're like following him, and he's got a stick in his mouth at all times. Trusty stick. You never know when you're going to need it. He took us up the trail, and
where's the guys?
They stayed back because they had to gather the equipment, and they're like, just go ahead, just follow Konos. He'll take you up to the top. And we're like, oh, okay. So, and he was ready to go. He knew his job. He knew what he had to do. And he was so...
He like barks and starts running up the trail.
Well, he didn't bark. He was actually very quiet. This is what he did, okay? We were exhausted from this waterfall rappel situation, okay? It was very hard.
Yeah.
And so we're tired. And so some of us were lagging behind a little bit, okay? I'm not going to point, but we were taking our time. Some of us were trailing a little bit. And did Konos notice that? Absolutely. He noticed. And what did he do? He kept...
Like any good guide.
He kept track of his pack. And he would stop, and he would stop us, the people that were closer to the front. And then he'd walk back to the back to where the last person was. And then he'd walk beside them until they caught up. And then he'd go to the front again and then keep walking. How cute is that? Okay.
Was this some kind of shepherd?
This is it was a German shepherd, but yeah. But, or some type of that. He could have been a mixed breed. I don't know. But anyway, so like, this is the cutest thing. Okay. This is the last thing I'll say about Konos before I stop.
Say more, please.
Okay. Well, one of the girls, she had to tie her shoe. Okay, so she had stopped to tie her shoe. We were all hiking up the mountain. Konos, again, of course, notices this issue that's going on. And he stops. He comes back. And instead of like encouraging her to go, he sits down. He sits down and waits for her next to her and he's watching her tie her shoe. The second she's done tying her shoe, he gets up and he starts walking to the front.
Aww.
I was like, oh my gosh. Like, he knew that she wasn't going to keep walking right then.
Yeah.
So he sat down and waited for her to finish. He was so patient. He was so kind. He was so encouraging, so calming. I cannot say enough about Konos. Like, he was the best. And I got a picture with him, and I will never see that picture again in my life. So I just have to keep it in my brain as a memory.
Beautiful memory.
Forever and ever. Anyway, enough about Konos, enough about Costa Rica. We've been talking for 2 hours, and somehow I have to cut this down into
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
20, I mean, you know. TV show.
Gosh.
Sitcom length.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is like, once I get talking about something, I just ramble.
That's what podcasts are for. So you can waste everybody else's time too.
Guess so. Because we were talking about like Instagram and sharing and all of this. And I go through stints of like never, ever, ever sharing, like weeks. But then when I do share, I overshare. You know, like I go too far. And then I'm thinking like, what did I do? Why did I just overshare?
That's called content.
Yeah, I know. But there was this funny meme online and it showed this angry face and it said something like, it was something like that moment that I realized that I overshared again instead of being cool and mysterious. You know, like
demure.
Like there's that balance of demure. Yes, thank you. I'm no longer demure, no longer cool, no longer elegant. I am now
a little aloof.
I'm just aloof and a babbling idiot. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, that wouldn't be a very interesting person to have on a podcast. So.
Or would it? Or would it?
Yeah, just somebody going like, oh, I had a good time.
Wouldn't you like to know my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Wouldn't you like to know?
But alas, you will never know because I am just too cool and mysterious and demure.
Love it.
Love it. Like it.
Hit the bell.
Subscribe. Rate us. 5-star review.
Yelp.
And
Get us on Zagat guides.
oh, what's that?
You don't remember Zagat?
Do you have any last words?
Whoa. Are you gonna kill me?
I can't kill you. We're not together.
Oh, that's gonna kill me.
Oh.
Break my heart. That's my last words. Take it away, Lisa. Close up shop.
All right. Enjoy us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to watch on YouTube, go there. I wish we had like in-person YouTube content for you, but we don't. So it's just an animation. But if you prefer to have like video running, I don't know why you would, but you know, some people do. We actually get a lot of listeners on YouTube. Well, you're probably listening on YouTube, so never mind. What else?
That was a little passive aggressive.
I don't think I was aggressive, was I?
Just
I was
passive.
being kind, just passive. Yeah, that's it. Just love us, like us, whatever. Bye.
Bye.
And when we're in the distance, you'll hear this whispered tune. So long, very well, big cheerio, we'll be back soon.
It's like a, what do you call it when it's like...
Catch-22.
Yes, that. The catch-22.
Yeah. A paradox.
We're
Oxymoron.
living in a paradox.
I'm the oxy, you're the moron. Love you.
Love you too.